everyone. Welcome to Getting Down with Dave and my esteemed colleague JT Kirk. How you doing, buddy?
Hail. Hey, good. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing okay, man. But I might need a
Cool.
dermatologist or something. Like I'm 55 and I got like a big sit, like I'm going to the prom or something. I'm like,
Uh,
come on, man. What's up with that? And I broke my
I know
golden
that
rule.
all too well, sir.
Yeah,
All
I
too
broke my
well.
golden rule and drank some soft drinks. And I think that took good effect.
I
I
think
was
that's an
actually
old
trying to eat
wives'
healthy.
tale.
I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, so JT, we are taking a depart from the Battlestar Galactica and moving on to some deep breath here. I would say something that's a lot better than last
hmm
time. But like I said, not knocking anybody who liked the 1980 Galactica
So
stories. But
before we move on from that,
mhm,
real briefly, I tried to watch the 1980
yes,
and I saw like the first 5 minutes and I saw motorcycle, like rocket plane type things. We laid in last week
yeah,
about that pretty hard.
yep,
That was from the TV show. So I wanted to give them a little bit more benefit of the doubt in hindsight. Not
sure.
much,
Sure.
but
And if Gap had been here, and Gap, you're out there, hope you're feeling better or doing better.
mhm.
He could have helped us a little bit more on that because I haven't seen the movie in a long time and I didn't want to watch it. Now that I think about what you're saying, I probably should have, right? But I didn't
It
want
was
it to
cringe.
I didn't want it to
It was
interject.
bad, Dave. It
Yeah, I
was
remember it being terrible as a kid, right? I mean, I
mhm.
didn't graduate till high school till '87, so I don't know
Well,
when the movie came out, but I don't know if too many people like it unless they're just trying to be, yeah, I kind of like that type of thing. You know what I mean?
mm,
But you know,
I
the
don't know. It was bad enough I had to turn it off after 10 minutes. So, I mean, okay, it wasn't like Section 31 bad, but
oh,
it was terrible. All the
oh that
same.
no, that thing is getting roasted, dude.
Oh, I
It's
know.
getting roasted from everybody except a couple shills. And
Well,
hey, there's going to be
yeah.
somebody out there who just watches this off the beaten path who don't has no stake in the game and whether you care or not. Maybe you have a few beers and you watch and you're like, that was entertaining.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
other than that, you can't even get me to say that that was any good with anything, not even me. So we are taking
Oh,
a departure from
you are
all
a
of
man
that.
of fine taste and discernment.
Well,
Don't sell yourself short.
don't screw with my Adama and my Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? Even I
Exactly.
draw the line at certain things, especially issue 14 of Common Sense,
Yeah.
right? Of the original one,
So,
Common Sense of that one. And let's get, and so I was segueing. Do you have a question about what we're doing now? Or
yeah. So, what made you pick this Black Panther? I see you have it in front of you. You have number
yes,
one, which is
I
pretty
have
cool.
I have the full run. So I had this when I was younger, sold it off. I had actually what they called the Jungle Action. A lot of people who would know that Jungle Action was a series that Black Panther was introduced in issue number 5. You heard me tell the
hmm
horror stories that
hmm
I had that whole run. And on issue number 5, we had the tape. I don't do my old school stuff in tape, but I have the resealable ones now, right?
Right.
I'm still
hmm
careful with it. But I had the tape on the Jungle Action number 5 and it was really good condition. And the tape caught right on my Jungle Action number 5 and ripped the whole piece
Oh,
out of it
yeah.
and all that. Hey, FKHC 2000, C 2005. Sorry. How are you doing? Thanks for popping in, man. Looked like we were flying solo there for a few
Yeah. Hello
minutes.
there.
Hope you
No,
can.
you know, the people
Hey,
get you on
it's
the
all
rewatch
good.
too.
But
For
why
those of
can't
you
I
that
get
might be
the.
joining late or just listening, Dave is holding up a copy of the Marvel Comics Black Panther from 1977,
Yes,
issue number
yes,
1, 30 cents. He's back as only Jack Kirby can do it.
yes. And don't worry, I'm gonna pull this up here in the stream. Let me go ahead and add that to stage while we're talking. I'm gonna go ahead and stop my cam. And this is like a multi-stage process.
Well, the first stage is to admit that there's a higher power.
Yeah. I picked this one because meeting up with Nick Weiser, hail to 32 Flavors, Nick Weiser, Ironcaster, Clobby, to our good guy Clobby, rest in peace, brother. Getting back into comics, that I had this. I sold it off with the Jungle Action, so the whole series that I had a while back, and I just remembered how cool it was. And I wanted it back, so I bought it back. And I just missed out, JT, on the whole run of Jungle Action 5 through. Complete full run in very fine condition. I know it went for several $100s easily, but looking back at it this week, I could have replaced that right about at my limit of what I could spend, considering my situation these days. But I don't tell sob stories. It would have been well worth it to get it. I didn't even put in a final bid on it. And not knowing that what the final bid would have been for that other person, you know what I mean? Could have been way more than that. It only goes to the lowest one. You don't know what the highest bid is.
Right.
Or could have been, right? I missed out on that, and it was well within my not going to do it limit.
Yeah.
And I
that's
didn't
always
even try.
the thing with an auction. I still love telling the story from eBay in the early days, like the dial-up days.
Yeah.
And outbidding people on Nintendo 64 games by like 5 cents. And back then, a dial-up, if you didn't click on that page like 2 minutes before the end of the bid, you weren't getting it loaded up in time.
Oh, now people wait. Now people wait to the last second. And they don't do the wait 5 minutes if it beat your bid, or you don't get an additional minute. When it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
So you have to put in your over. Now they won't screw you and take what's the difference. They'll do it fairly. If someone bids $2 and you bid 201, you get it at 201. But you can put it $100, right?
Right.
If you want to pay 100, and if it only goes for 201, you get it. But if the other guy put in 250, you lose out.
Sure.
Right. And then that money goes to the people selling it. People pretty much know what eBay is. But now it's down to the second. And I'm like, just put in what you want to spend and leave it, because you're just going to wind up spending more and more and more at the last second. I'm going to raise my bid. Because I know it won't go all the way down, but you don't know what the highest bid is from that other person.
Right.
So, but so I, considering that our art and storylines were back and forth, right? I just wanted to go do some classic stuff. And this popped into mind. Kirby is a fan of everybody. And I probably read a lot of Kirby stuff when I was younger and didn't even really know that it was Kirby. You know what I mean? Wasn't paying attention to authors.
Well, you wouldn't necessarily make the connection.
Yeah, after a while, you kind of get used to some artists. Even when you're younger, you're like, "Oh, I like this guy." Oh, and you get used to certain people.
So, but like when I was a kid, the junk food books were the Goosebumps stories by R.L. Stine. I have no idea who drew all the cover art on all those paperbacks, right?
Well,
but the guy that sold all of his books was the one who did all the cover art, because when you're that age as a kid, you look at the cover of the book and then you're like, oh, I want to read that, or no, I don't want to read that. So it's kind of funny, the guy that probably sold it more than R.L. Stine himself, I have no idea who that artist's name is. Anyway.
Yeah, and when I got that, it would have been the one other thing we've been discussing, right? I got This is Kirby's Fourth World, right?
Oh.
I think Clobby and them mentioned this a lot, and this is just like a showing all the art for it in the gallery. I might
show that
scan
to Mark.
these in.
He probably would know quite a bit about that, I'm sure.
Him and Nick probably did. Clobby knows all about it. And if I remember correctly, it was either him or people on his shows that were recommending Fourth World, something that I had forgotten about or didn't even remember. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Fourth World. Oh, I kind of remember Fourth World and these guys right here. But yeah, so after a while, you still get into your favorite artists. Like I'm a Michael Turner fan. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago as well. Right when I was getting back into comics, and I was like, oh.
Yeah,
and I just pick up stuff like this. Remember this stuff? Little Devil. I had Richie Rich. I had tons of Archie and Batman and Superman's. Picked up a Conan. But
oh yeah.
So I wanted for us, for you and me, and for the people watching, is to go back to something that's kind of a favorite, and Kirby is a favorite to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the reason why I did it. Let me stop my can. I got to bring up my screen again. Is it rolling for us, JT?
It is only showing your avatar, Bubble.
That's okay. So I got to go to.
And now the two of us.
How do I'm just going to re-add it back. It's going to take me a second because I boomered it.
Well, that's okay. I'm taking a moment to enjoy the cover, and I'm taking it all in.
Yeah, so I have to go back. It's a multi. Everybody knows I always complain about it because it takes like 10 different steps to get this set up and put in. And then I have to take it off my tabs, draw it down, go back to StreamYard, add it to stage, right? And then I have to do another button to get it where I can scroll. There we go. Yeah.
Now, could you tell the audience who all is on this cover?
That's Mr. Little in the back. All right, that's Black Panther. That is a henchman, and that's, I think her name is Xanda or Sanda, I think. This lady here to the left, the little guy with the gun to the right, are like collectors, like Indiana Jones, good guy, bad guys. The whole thing about that is they just collect stuff for money or for power or fame or stuff like that.
Sure.
I don't know much about her, to be honest with you. Either one. It's been so long, only that I read these.
All right.
But they were after this this frog here. It's a metallic frog.
Yeah, but it looks tasty.
Oh no.
It looks like a donut. It looks like a donut. A donut frog.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. So the lady here and the little guy with the gun are in competition for this thing. They're like collectors. And Black Panther, Black Panther is a very noble, upstanding type of guy, but he's not. He's okay with the fisticuffs if he has to. All right. So what do you think about the cover, though?
No
JT?
Guns for him. For him.
No, he doesn't like them. Now that's not to say that he's ever not used them. I can't vouch for that, JT. But he's kind of like that, and it's kind of weird you mention it because it'll come up here in the comic.
All right, cool.
So what do you think?
I have not read this yet, folks. Dave obviously have. I have not.
Yeah, I read these again tonight. Blazed right through them in like 30 minutes, but because it's such an easy read, but fun too. What do you think of the cover?
Honestly, a little busy, a little cramped, a little too much going on for me. The art itself isn't bad. It's just very congested.
Yeah, a little too much character reveal. But what do you think about the art and the drawings, the expressions?
The colors pop pretty well. I know we have our color restriction like we had in the BSG comics and some of that early stuff that Hungry Boy talked to us about. So, I know that they have that going on. But I think they do a good job of putting all the attention on the treasure of the week, the mystery of the week, right in the front.
Spoiler alert, it is telling you a lot of what's going on right here in the comic, straight up.
Mm-hmm.
So let's keep to see if that's going to be a theme with Kirby, right? He chose to do the character reveals
And
here.
we have a chat here as well.
Yeah, he went to see some artwork like Conan and stuff by Frazetta. Oh, and if you don't know who Frazetta is, boy, you haven't seen a lot of comics.
B-52 knows art.
Yeah.
Is what he.
Well, remember we talked about Stan Lee trying to get the name of that one comic, and he changed it to Epic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of that's Frank Frazetta, heavy metal. The Death Dealer, that character, Death Dealer. That's all Frazetta.
Cool.
Yeah, look at the colors. This is a really good scan from them. At readallcomics.com. We get a little introduction to Black Panther. And folks, if we might be doing a lot of talking because this is the first day of this. There's 20 issues. We might only get through number 1. I know JT has to go soon, but if we only get through number 1, we'll just do 2 and 3 next week.
Yeah. That's okay. We're not on a tight time.
We're not on
or anything. We're just
pressure
here
time
fun.
schedule. Yeah, this is just for fun. Yeah. So I was pretty much assuming if anybody else pops in, let me know because Kirby's very well liked, very well known. He was a machine back in the day, JT. I don't know if Hungry talked to you about.
Oh yeah.
Well, you remember how many people that they were under pressure to get things done. Hint, hint about something else, right? That's an inside joke between you and me, right?
Yes.
I had to get that in, dude.
It also did not escape my eye that somebody has to have their name higher on the page than Jack Kirby as well.
Of course, because it's his thing. Now, you notice on the cover, he said he's back. So Kirby did work for them before, and Stan Lee brought him back. He actually mentioned it, I think, in the Battlestar Galactica run way back several months ago, if I'm mistaken, or it might be in a different comic. I will touch on something here, and if you can help me remember, I did take notes, but I don't know where I put it. There's Stanley Soapbox. I'm going to skip that on this one, but there's also a letter thing here in this comic as well that I really liked, and it is absolutely talks about something that's going on today. So I'm going to bring it up if I remember.
Sure.
Okay, so the cover gives you a good indication of characters that are going to be involved, what the frog is, and straight up, of course, that's what it's called, Solomon's Frog. So everybody knows King Solomon's Mines and all that kind of stuff, right? The old character. Well, this is a story about that in Black Panther. And apparently, just to fill in people, not really spoiler alert, Mr. Little here, that character underneath his arm, he goes out and tries to find relics. That's all I can tell you about him, really, to be honest with you. And Panther and him are buddies or compadres or co-workers. Can't tell you much more about that either.
For lack of a better term, they're Tomb Raiders.
Yeah. Well, not so much Black Panther. In fact, he makes several comments. He doesn't like them too much because when he likes this guy for the most part, but he doesn't like pretty much what they do. But I don't want to spoil alert why he actually likes them because we'll see why he doesn't like them too, coming in the background here. But they go in there after this frog. Now, this isn't a live frog, everybody. This is a statue. It's a bronze, brass, metal type
frog.
of thing. Yeah. Until you find out what it really is. And yeah, it's pretty obvious this guy is deceased or in shock or something, right?
Yeah. Some kind of weird comatose like state, a trance maybe.
Yeah, and I can tell you, JT, one of the reasons why I love this comic in Kirby, at least in this one, because I do have some other comics of his, I think. Oh, I don't want to make a faux pas on that, buddy. But if it's him, I don't like it too much. I've mentioned it to you before, but I'll skip that because I love the writing. It's not childish, but it's not overly adult. We ran into that with BSG, right? They're all over the place with the writing. In fact, one of the issues was we wholeheartedly determined it wasn't for kids. That issue was dude, it was bloody. It was
Right.
really, that was young adult. Remember that one? I'm gonna fry him. Fry. Remember that one?
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of this, but this is, you'll get some punch pow Batman stuff and shoot pew pew, and it's a lot of action. But this is young adult stuff and adults. It's not for kids. I don't know what age. It's up to you. So you're a parent. You decide, right?
Right.
Wink, wink. You get that decision. But you see right off the bat, he's like, your friend doesn't seem alarmed. In fact, he's not moving at all. You see what I'm getting at,
yeah,
JT?
It looks like a poison dart frog from like a jungle, or an arrow frog, I guess is another name for them as well.
The poison dart frog, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, or like bright red, bright blue. You don't want to touch them whatsoever, or you're probably going to be,
yeah, you're going to
looking
be
like this guy.
A massive LSD trip, and you'll be lucky to come out of it.
Yes.
Yeah. You're either going to die happy or die really badly in your mind, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So his name is Mr. Little. So if anybody's saying, oh, I'm making fun of his size, no, that's his freaking name, by the way. And he's saying, oh, that's Quigley in the chair. He's got the brass frog. I was right. So they're hunting for this artifact. And JT, just look at, I know you think it's busy, and I completely get it. Like the cover probably could have left her out of it and her, but hey, that's what they did. And I think they did that to show you what's coming up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now the lettering in here, everybody, is not going to be like this for the rest, because this is like a double page. I'm not going to pull it up in the comic.
You can kind of see that along the bottom. The alignment is just ever so slightly off.
Yeah. Black Panther, they come in and you get this, the room is trashed. But look at the artwork, man. Look at this
There's
guy
some cool looking antiquities back there. I know it sounds kind of weird.
No,
it's but perfect. Like Indiana Jones kind of antiquity type stuff.
Yeah, there's a little box. This is something else I wanted to talk about with Kirby. He likes to do these boxes, but he does it really well. He really brings out a lot of the action, and you feel it. I'll get to that later. But they go into this room, and Little calls, poor hapless fool, I'll take possession of this now. So you can see he went straight for the, oh, sorry, he's dead, but give me that. Right? You see what I'm getting at with this guy? Mm-hmm. That's what he's after. And Panther goes, he's dead. There's a wound in his chest, like a sword or something. And then you see
runs
this guy
straight through the back of the chair too.
Yeah. So this is a reveal that this dude is hiding somewhere with this big ass sword, right?
And that's a wacky getup.
Yeah, look at that helmet, man, dude. It's wild, isn't it? That's Kirby, man. I love it. It might seem like a little much, but the shading and everything, you can tell that it's kind of shiny armor, and without having those star splotches, like they do on the Cylons, which I love too, because it shows how shiny. But it's just different techniques, right? Different style, different forms, and I love this helmet. It's just crazy, right?
Right.
And so now we'll get into where everybody can read this, probably on the YouTube side. If you can't, let me know. I can maybe enlarge it.
I can read it.
Okay.
I can read it.
Cool. All right. Still just us. And so this Mr. Little obviously doesn't care for this Quealy guy very much. And so ends his miserable career. It's a recluse collector in chief. And then Black Panther kind of calls him out because he says the object is what killed him. But Panther kind of is like, no, man, something else is kind of going on here, right? He got stabbed. And I'm trying to give you time to read this, JT, while I'm talking.
Oh, yeah, I actually read the page. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm slightly ahead on my other monitor.
Nice. Excellent. So you can see how the when they talk to, it's normal. It's just like guys talking, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, this dude was a thief, and now this thing. Panther's like, come on, man, you know.
He's
uh,
like, no, 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 no. He must have been experimenting with this frog. That's what did him in. And yeah, Black Panther's just like, nope, nope, that's not
no,
it at all.
yeah,
And then duck, and then zip, look out.
yeah. So we get this. I don't know what they call it, this box here, right? I like to call it like an emotion box because he builds up the emotion of the scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
At that moment, the Black Panther's sharpened instincts react to a sense of sudden danger. Uh, so I don't know what you would like in comics. You know, everybody's different, but I kind of like this for this comic. It just fits to me perfectly. You know what I mean,
Yeah,
JT?
yeah.
Uh, and
This is a classic style. I mean, it just screams, like, it just not to say this is golden age, but a
77.
yeah, but it's classic comic books, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
it's classic
peak
comic
or
books.
whatever you want to. I don't want to say golden age because that means something else, but
Yeah.
it's in its element for sure.
Right. Like you wouldn't necessarily have to put this box in there, like in these two boxes. And
Mm-hmm.
you could say, well, he doesn't too much. No, not for me, because it's part of the comic. It builds up what's going on with it, with the action, right?
And
And
see,
he doesn't.
all of this, I can picture this in my mind happening. The way that it's depicted, but the way it's also described in those
Yeah.
boxes. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely.
perfect. Well, I don't know. Perfect is quite the word for it, but
Well, I
it's very
mean,
well done.
it's perfect, really. I mean, to the point, unless there's something crazy that happened, like a faux pas in the art where somebody's face gets
Mm-hmm.
messed up. You know what I mean? Or like we always talked about times constraints and somebody's rushing. Um, but the action is great. He's ducking, he's swishing, he's jumping around. Um, and then he goes, a sinewy sword arm hacks away in pursuit. So you can kind of get what I'm talking about with the dialogue here with Kirby. It's
Mm-hmm.
like he's describing that action with real aplomb, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then the dialogue between the guys is great. It's like, take cover, Mr. Little. The killer's still with us. And it's like, yeah, we know it, but that's in that classic like Batman Robin type stuff, right?
Yes.
Look out, Robin. Look out, Batman. Holy Batman nipples. He almost got you. That kind of stuff.
And then the clever response from
Why,
Little.
so he is. Really? Um, and then, he's beefing up Black Panther here. If you've never known Black Panther and you pick this up, let's say you've never heard of Black Panther, you've never seen him with the Avengers or anything like that, or the original stuff. And God, I wish I could have got a hold of the Fantastic Four one. Is it number 32? Maybe the chat can help me. His original introduction. Ugh, I should get my hands on that comic. But the Black Panther's superb agility keeps him alive. And then he's like, Queely probably fell easily to your blade, but you'll find Panther a most uncooperative target. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Third person reference. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Go ahead, JT. Go with it. You almost got what I'm getting ready to say.
Oh, I was just gonna say like the ego on this guy already from the first or second full page. Second, well,
Yeah.
it's early on.
Yeah,
In
but it's
issue
not
number
an
one.
it's not an ego like he's a jerk face type of guy, right? He's just
Mm-hmm.
talking to this bag like, oh, dude, really? You took him out, but you're dealing with me now. So he does have that ego, but I love it because he's talking trash to the bad guy, right?
Right.
While they're fighting. But I'm not. You're not going to find me that uncooperative target, right?
And the cool thing is, it's a panther, so you're getting reflexes, agility, those types of things, keeping himself on balance. You're getting. Oh, that's what a cat has. Oh, okay. So that's what this guy is going to have as his super abilities.
Yep.
That you're not needing to be told. Like, his abilities are not listed out. You just see them at work, which
Yeah.
is pleasant. It in departure from a lot of modern characters that they just tell you everything, and you're like, well, that's not fun.
Yeah, it's just the way, maybe if Mark or Nick could have hopped in, Clobby definitely could have done this, or D-Bud. It's the way they talk about this while the action's going. This little guy, pardon the pun, but splendid, Panther, splendid. Your skill is great. Why don't you help out? But I don't know. Maybe you don't want. He's got the. I almost said brass monkey, dude.
Brass
monkey, that funky monkey.
Yeah. I got you. I got you.
He's not trying to really help out right now because he's got that frog and he's holding on to it.
Right.
And while Panther's fighting, he called him, well, thanks a lot, man. If I don't put this killer out of action, we're going to both die. You know what I mean? So and you've got the fighting going on, and you've got the banter between the two guys. It's hilarious.
And not only that, I think one of the strengths that I can see from this medium of storytelling is you have the blending of some visual action, but also you can do these boxes where you can write things or describe things. Where if you were to have this as a Black Panther film, he just started opening fighting this guy. I mean, you've taken 3 pages to do what they're going to do in about 6 seconds, and all of the character building was gone from the video, because you don't see a guy being described of like having the attributes of a large cat. You just see a guy jumping around super quick, punching people and kicking people and dodging.
Yeah, again,
and you lost all of that. Here, it's so much more rich, even though you don't actually have a moving object right in front of your eyes.
Yep, and the action scenes, and look at the colors, dude. The bright colors, and I guess I could have opened it up here. They are, so I don't really want to mess with my comics too much.
Sure.
I didn't even really like opening today, but I did it out of nostalgia to reread them. And I've already read them about a year ago. But the colors are great, man. The reds, the yellows, grays, light pink. They're used effectively, not just to pass, let's get this page done type crap that we've seen in the past, right?
Yeah.
And again, we get these.
Right where your mouse pointer is. I can't let him use that sword again. Got to cancel him now. So I don't know where his cell phone is. I don't know why he doesn't have X and Reddit pulled up. This dude's, I don't know how he's going to cancel him, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. I mean, he knocked the heck out of him, right? And was saying how hard it was to hit this dude. And then the box says, panic seems to overtake the Panther's strange attacker. I like that. It's like, so he keeps the drama built up, the feeling built up, like you were talking about.
Yes.
But old boy jumps out a window and hauls ass. And oddly enough, you can see back in the times of Jack Kirby being so old school, they bring the police into it. That was kind of like a little trope that I noticed. And it's not the first time we'll see it either, JT.
Yes.
Normally, maybe you wouldn't have that, I guess. The guy ran away and they're like, okay, whatever. We either chase him or we don't, right? But you can tell this is kind of an old school type of thinking. Let him go. They're going to pick him up.
Right.
Yeah, man, he's wearing an iron suit and running down the street with a sword. They'll get him. No biggie. But to bring the cops into it, you see what I'm getting at?
Yes.
It's kind of an old school type of thing, real old school. So what do you think about the close-ups, the art here with Mr. Little? It's kind of
weak.
Short, pudgy type of guy anyway, and that's not making fun of him. Just saying.
Unfortunately, I find it a little weak. The hand is a little too big on Little. In the nose, his entire nose is like smaller than his fingernail.
Yeah, he's a kind of a messed up kind of guy.
Is a little weird because below that, that's obviously not the case. The one right below that, where he has his hand on the frog, he looks more normally proportioned.
And the face is a lot better. So
yeah,
it's just the angles.
And the nose is the proper side. Yeah, there is some issue with some of that, which, I mean, I don't want to be too harsh on it. We've had way worse the past.
We've seen way. Kirby's really good here. It's just an ankle thing. But we get into the story of the frog now. So these panels are really important for the comic. Black Panther's asking him, so what's this all about? I didn't pursue this man because I sense that his capture is certain. Now, Black Panther will take the high road on a lot of different things. So I'm warning you, JT, about that. Okay. A heads up. But that's because he's just a noble type of guy. He's a prince, a king, right? Of his country, Wakanda. Of course, you know that, right? But so this is T'Challa. I'm assuming. If I got that wrong, forgive me, but they don't say, right? Unless I missed it. So he's asking him, what's up with this dude? He seemed, because he's a frightened stranger among us. I don't know how he knew that already, but I'm not going to pick at it because this guy explains it, because he's a real McCoy dude, a living warrior plucked from antiquity and transplanted this century. And you're like, uh-oh, what are you getting at, dude? He goes, well,
kind of a leap for him to know that.
Yeah, it was kind of a leap for him to know that he was a stranger among us. But Black Panther has very, very good perception. He's like a Batman type of guy too, right? Sort of. I don't know if his ninja skills are as good, but he has heightened sense of a lot of different stuff and physical power too. You know all this stuff, right? Most people do. If you don't, go back and read some old Black Panther and his origin story, which maybe we should have done, but we're not going to get into it too much. He talks about his grandfather, and his grandfather. I'm going to go a little bit faster here, but that's stop me if you need. That his grandfather actually owned this frog, and yes, JT, it's a time machine. Now, for everybody who's going to lose their over a time machine, it's not going to delve into any of that Star Trek stuff. It's not going to delve into any of the whatevers and Captain America, whatever comic superhero sci-fi tropes and stuff that you can think of. Yes, there is a time travel, but it's not like that. There is, but you'll see. It's not bad. It doesn't get into all that stuff, right? But it is sci-fi time travel.
Sure.
So were you a little disappointed to see that, or what did you think?
Well, you're getting my reaction live. Kind of lame to do that with a frog. I was hoping for a mystical curse. I guess that would be more of an obvious trope. But I was really hoping for something like that instead of this being a machine capable of facilitating time travel.
Yeah. It's definitely a odd choice, right? So now you're forced into deciding, well, just like in that one BSG a couple times, we're like, well, let's see which way they go. We don't have a choice, right? This is what he picked. This is what they picked. So
inhaled Buddy Hepburn.
Hey,
happy
buddy.
Wednesday evening, dude.
Nice for coming in.
What I will say though is I disagree with Little here, because claiming that the ancestor was too wise to tamper with such a complex device, I don't know if wisdom is necessarily the best term for that. I think burying what you don't understand can probably hurt you pretty bad too. I think
Yeah.
history has some examples of that. So I don't know if wise is really a good choice for that, but hey, it's issue number 1. We got to roll with it a little bit.
Yeah. I guess he's just trying to explain that his grandfather took a look at it and said, I ain't gonna mess with it. That's basically what he's getting at, right? I guess.
Yes.
The strange forces and miniature mechanisms that power the frog are quickly revealed because they getting a closer look at it. And Little kind of explains that people who tamper with it open a door of time and bad things happen. It's kind of like he's letting on, and he's kind of knows this has happened before for the most part. And then Black Panther's, I'm telling you, he's a noble dude. He's already making a comment. Yeah, it's kind of too bad we didn't get here in time. You see what I mean? But then they get in this kind of little cool jet copter to leave.
Yeah, there are many jet-powered helicopters. I mean, that is the primary way the modern helicopter is powered versus a piston engine, right? That the very earliest helicopters were. Yet, I don't know what they were trying to emulate with this model of helicopter.
Just comic book stuff.
Looks pretty goofy to me.
Yeah, it's straight comic book stuff. That's all it
looks
is.
cool from the top down, but the side view is kind of almost Jetsons like. It's a little cheesy.
Well, it doesn't look very big. That's the only thing I thought of. It looked like it could have been a lot big. Nice. Bam.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I couldn't resist the opportunity.
No worries. But you do get some time and spacing dimensions, how high off the ground they are and stuff now, right? Mm-hmm. So T'Challa is like getting kind of a lecture from this guy, or he's just kind of explaining what's going on now is that he doesn't intend to keep it, right? He's going to return it to King Solomon's burial chamber. Ta-da! That's where we get...
Buddy's got a question for you, Dave, in the chat.
No, he's just a small person. As far as I know, he's just a small dude. Little person. And his name is actually
so he may
Mr.
have
Little.
Some genetic issue that kind of gives him an odd look, but he's not an intelligent ape or anything like that.
Very top page, but you'll get a view with him standing next to Black Panther to show the size difference. He's a little person, small person. Don't get mad at anybody's listening. I don't know what the proper term is.
Whatever the proper term is for that.
Yeah. So so Panther thinks that he's kind of crazy about thinking about King Solomon's. He thinks King Solomon is just a fairy tale, and Little is trying to tell him, no, dude, it's not. That's where the brass frog was actually taken. That King Solomon back in the day had all kinds of different crazy stuff that he had gathered over the years, and the frog was one of them. But then we get kind of I think a Moonraker scene here, JT, but over land. If you remember Moonraker, right?
Oh yes. With Roger Moore.
Yeah. Well, you remember the space shuttle or whatever it was. There were some people in it, and then the bigger thing came in and swallowed them up, right?
Yes.
The bad guys.
Hey there, Lady V.
Lady V. Oh, hey.
Good to see you.
Nice.
We are, for those of you joining us, we are going through Black Panther #1 from 1977 by Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
The great Jack Kirby.
So Black Panther and this guy here, whose name is Mr. Little, they're after the frog, which is a time machine. But don't get fretted about it. What they do here isn't that bad. They're running away now from bad guys up in the air on their little jet copter. And this is classic Jack Kirby, this machine right here, right? If you've seen Fourth World or know Kirby, Um, that is a classic design, JT. That look.
It's it's from an older time. I'm thinking like 1930s, 1940s science fiction kind of look.
Yeah. It's definitely a fourth world type of
Hmm.
design and a bunch of other things that Kirby has done. Um, a little odd for this frame because they're just regular bad guys, but it's him, and look at the colors and the design and stuff to it, right?
Yes.
And so they're in a chase with this big ship, so there's a little theme with Mr. Little. There it is. How about it, Mr. Little? What are we gonna do? He's always prepared for everything. All right. He is like a
Okay.
little Batman that no matter what's going on, he's got something for it. So I'll give you a heads up about that. Because at first you're like, really? And then you just kind of catch on. That's just the way it is.
Sure.
That's who this
Sure.
guy is. He's prepared. And so he shoots 2 missiles out the back and takes out this big shit. Go wham!
Oh yeah, that helicopter has ass missiles.
Yes, they have ass missiles. Kind of after drinking all night and going to White Castles
Yeah.
or Taco Bell. So,
What a cool collision.
yeah.
It's not overdone, like on some of the comics we read, like BSG, that scene would have been like half a page.
Yeah, and
And it
not
didn't need to be.
that's yeah. You couldn't have said that any better, and that's why I like Kirby, especially with the writing and the styling and keeping emotions up and the flow. Right? He doesn't he doesn't tend to overdo things.
Tim, no comment.
Oh yeah, I see that. Isn't that funny? Ah, okay. It was good, dude, lady and buddy.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah. Um, so we actually get a cockpit scene for you, JT, from the Viper. We
Yes.
get a helicopter scene, jet
Yes.
helicopter scene, and a joystick for you.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So Panther's kind of calling him out about this brass frog because he's not. I don't know what Panther wants to do with this thing. Probably hide it, bury it, like Batman would probably do. You know what I mean? Put it away where nobody can
Right.
use it. And Mr. Little's trying to tell him that's what he's doing. He's going to return it back to this King Solomon's grave, which Black Panther doesn't believe even exists. So there's a little Black Panther's kind of like, come on, what are we going to do here?
Yeah, but
Um,
I think he recognizes it's dangerous and you don't want to
oh,
let it stay public, right?
oh no, it's definitely got to get buried or put somewhere safe. In fact, he probably would have took it to the Avengers. You know what I mean? Or buried it somewhere deep in Wakanda is probably what I would have thought he would have said, but he never really said that. You know what I mean? It's like, man, you better do something because I'm taking this thing back to Wakanda. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where nobody can get to it. And Little talks about how it was a royal gift to King Solomon, and then it's people who screw with it wind up getting canceled, or a lot of bad things happen. And he tells a little story going all the way back. Some people found it and they messed around with it, and a big, what do they call it? Barbarous creature from another time. I love that though. Tampering with the toy proved his undoing. Right, this guy here, which is Alibaba. JT, is it Alibaba and the 40 Thieves going on here? Because he calls him Baba, but
Well,
Baba is
yeah,
like
I
a
don't
name.
know if they need to be specifically named that, but yeah, tomb ransacking was a
It was a big thing.
well-known thing that did happen back then. I'm thinking maybe Goliath showed up.
Yeah. Well,
Because
you've
I'm
got
trying to
this.
think who's older than Solomon
Well, they
to
made a
do that.
reference to it here. So apparently there was a huge massacre with this barbarous creep monster and this creature, levels
okay.
the whole town, kills a lot of people. The story, and then the story of Alibaba and the genie. This is where it actually originated from. So there you go. I was trying not to spoil alert. I was trying to lead it in, segue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That the actual genie from the bottle emanated from this story, plus a bunch of other times that people messed around with the frog and got waylaid. Right, a lot of people apparently.
And Rosie O'Donnell's coming through.
Yeah, jeez. And there's even a reference to that
Lizard?
thing. No,
Yeah.
the Loch Ness monster. Boy. Rawr. So yeah, it's just a little
Which is
history
kind of
lesson.
cool. Which is kind of cool that
Yeah.
they attempt to explain an urban legend, or not an urban legend, but just a legend away like that, right?
Yeah, that if this thing actually had been in existence for in real life, as far as we're concerned, right, that Alibaba would have, that the genie would have been real, the Loch Ness monster would have been real. When most people say it could have been possible, that but uh, it's a good little. I liked it. You know what I mean? It was a little
Yep.
departure from all the action, just a quick little, like you said, one page, right?
Yes.
One page tells all these
Yes.
stories, and then it's done, right? It didn't drag on, as you've noticed in some of the other comics that we've done,
Yeah, the
right?
pacing is beautiful.
Yeah, and that's what Panther says right here. Hey, man, it's a fantastic premise, and very hard to digest because I haven't seen this operate. And then he's like, "Restrain yourself, man, because this thing ain't good." You know what I mean? Or we're gonna wind up like that Queen guy, who, for everybody who
Right.
mentioned, they found a dude who'd been sworded to death, had to fight the guy off. And then, like I said, one page and it's done, and then pow, right back to some action. I love it.
Right. Which
Now,
is fun how it just out of nowhere, like some new quote unquote competition is coming after them. It is kind of strange, the face on this main jetpackist. I don't know the name for one who jetpacks, but it kind of looks like a Mario mustache, but you
yeah,
don't get to see the face.
I didn't know if it was a helmet. I don't know what was going on there. But it's the way Kirby can draw so much different. You look at the left here, this left panel with the pow pow. Look at all the glass shards that are flying through there, or flying around, right?
Yep.
You can feel that in his exposition box, his feeling box is what I call it, right? Suddenly,
Yes.
that's all you need to say. Bang! Shots were under fire. And Panthers, like, you remember we talked about how they talk to each other? It's like, that's for sure. It's funny to me, but look at all the glass and stuff flying around. It just, that one little square is like, wow, that, that's a great little scene.
Now keep in mind they shattered the glass on a jet-powered helicopter, so it's going to be so deafeningly loud. They better not be talking to each other again, but I have a feeling they will. So,
well, yeah. Then we get a shot of that. There's like a lot of dudes after him, at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6, maybe. Now, if you wanted to be Batman gory or a different type of gory, you would have just dipped the helicopter right into him, but it would have made him crash too, right? So probably not a good idea to do that, just to get rid of these guys. And Panther wouldn't have been for all that gore either, not back then anyway. So, like I warned everybody, this guy's always got something going on, right?
yes.
I guess he's been at this game of trying to collect relics and fighting off people and doing all this stuff for quite a while. So he goes into turbo mode. I'm sorry, supersonic speed.
Which is impossible with a helicopter, as far as we know.
Yeah, this has definitely got to go with it, comic style stuff. Of course, being older now that we read these things, it couldn't have happened, but it's okay to the point when you're reading this is younger, right? Oh wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he
I
does
know it's not that kind of comic, to think about that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of fantasy elements even for Kirby, but it's more of like in a fun type of way and not just completely insulting. You know what I mean? Like what we've seen, issue 14, BSG.
Right.
Yeah. So they take off supersonic speed and just leave these guys literally hanging.
He said, punch it. And then we heard, the Millennium Falcon noise. Right.
Yeah. And, or Star Trek warp speed.
Mm-hmm.
But even Black Panther's like, yo, dude, can you slow it down? So I just love this kind of writing when characters. You remember how Starbuck and Boomer and Apollo would talk to each other when they're having fun?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
One of the good things about those comics, but this is really good. It's, can you slow it down, Mr. Little? We lost them. All right. And then we get into the hidden volcano type
base,
yeah, which is kind of cool, right? And you've seen this many times. That was even in another James Bond movie. It might have even been Moonraker, if I remember. You can help me out. I can't keep my James Bond movies straight. Even my Godzilla ones, I get confused. But they go to this guy's base, and it's pretty obvious at this point that he has a lot of money, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
At the floor of the pit, a landing area of impressive dimensions and construction accommodates the copter. And you can see, I like it, the way he drew that. And he also explains that this is a big place and the copter's really little. And there you go, buddy. You can see that Mr. Little is a small person. But you can see how big this place is too, right? From just this little kind of area. He took consideration to draw Black Panther and Mr. Little. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Trying to make it. It's like models and stuff with figures. I forgot what you call it.
Black Panther here says, "I felt a presence I have not felt since."
Yeah. Yeah, and he leads it up to with it's a risky business if you collect objects like the brass frog. Yeah, go with that, JT. Yeah.
Now I keep thinking Brass Monkey because you planted that song into my head.
Yes, and FKHC 2005 says that one is in You Only Live Twice. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for pointing. I didn't think it was Moonraker. The other scene was Moonraker with the big ship trying to get the little ship.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. Yeah, and so Black Panther, I'm telling you, he's got heightened senses, right? We've already determined that. Most people know this. He's like, what's up with this? Something's wrong, right? Like, just like you said, JT. That was a good call out there, man. Good shout out for Star Wars. And this guy's like, impossible, blah, blah, blah. And then bang, he takes one to the chest. Like, whoa.
I bet he has some armor or something on.
You're so smart. That's why I have you here. But are you sure? You just don't know.
He always has something, you said.
Thank you. Yay. So you caught on to everything. You caught on to me saying he's always got something up his sleeve, a trick.
Mm-hmm.
And right when he's look out, it's too late. So he couldn't stop the bullet, but he saw it coming, but he's no Superman right here, right? And then he's like, whoa, get out the way. He took one to the chest. But now T'Challa goes into kick-ass mode.
Oh yeah, he's seeing nothing but red right now.
Yeah, he's pissed now, dude. He just he's crushing these guys. Henchmen, I like to call them, right? If you ever watch Venture Brothers, for everybody out there, I'm a huge Venture Brothers fan. and of course a lot of other things that like Godzilla and stuff. But the Henchman 21, 24, and Henchman 0 from Venture Brothers, classic, so good. And he says, yeah, he's too late to stop to save his companion, but he jumps in, he starts kicking ass. I love this uppercut right here to the left. What do you think of that?
Pow!
That guy's face is just crunch.
Oh yeah,
I would have liked to see
he needs some new teeth after that.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. I don't know if, knowing Kirby, he would have wanted to have some teeth flying out of there, but I don't know if that's. I don't know if Marvel would have approved that.
Yeah, that's a little violent, isn't it?
Well, it's weird, and maybe people who know pre-code, gosh, Hungry and Cloudy, God, I wish you guys were here to help us, or Mark, maybe even Nick can talk, and Deba definitely could talk about pre-code comics. But that was more of a sexual nature environment, more bloody violence, right? You notice. Because the panel right next to it, he crushes this guy, right? Crack, smash. But it's not as bad as if to the left one, because I was like, oh, I want to see some teeth flying up out of there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because when I was in Okinawa, I've actually, not me, I didn't punch anybody that bad or get hit that bad, but the guy next to me out in the street did. Really late at night. He was talking a lot of trash to a couple, probably Marine guys. And they took about as much as they could for a long time, actually. I thought they probably should have just left, but the guy was really insistent, older dude. These were really, and crack, and there went some flying teeth, dude, like on me and my buddy, and I was like, jeez. Yeah,
like, I didn't sign up for this.
I don't try to mess with.
I gotta go home. Yeah,
I don't mess with people too much, man. I mean, because you could get hurt badly.
Oh yes.
Right?
Oh yes.
So I'm assuming that he couldn't do that, or maybe he just didn't think of it, because he crushes the dude here to the right. You don't need any exposition boxes, but I love this where he says, as the grim targets swarm about him, the Black Panther's mighty fists snake out and drop them in their tracks.
Oh yeah.
I love that writing, man. It really gets you into it, right? As you can tell.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Some lady pulls out a hair dryer. That's like one of those Dyson hair dryers, like one of those Dyson fans. It's just like a ring. That's kind of what it looks like to me.
Yeah, and again, the design, the futuristic fourth world, classic Kirby here design type stuff going on, right?
Yep.
Stand aside, you fumbling clowns. You're gonna like this lady. Maybe not. Her character she's a baddie, right? Obviously.
Yes.
She shoots Black Panther, I'm assuming here in the back. A woman's voice, a strong but slender finger tightens upon a trigger.
Droning waves of the Force rush to make contact. They strike and bring down the Black Panther. Yeah.
A little weird art there, but hey, it's effective.
So bro got tased.
He got tased.
Because every nerve in the Panther's body becomes a center of pain.
Yeah,
he collapses in a limp heap. Yeah, he got his ass tased, and she didn't even scream "taser, taser, taser" first. No. So I mean, what a
straight
jerk.
up shot him in the back.
What a jerk!
Like, oh, she's not a goodie. She's a baddie. She's a bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she's got a bunch of the henchmen who just got their ass kicked pretty bad, and they're like, "Oh, this is a day of triumph, Princess Zonda." Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the backstory on her. Forgive me. There's obviously a backstory, but I do not know it. I can't remember her at all. I have to go way back, but I don't remember her in the Jungle Action series. Anyway, she's here now, and she's after the frog with a bunch of henchmen, and they give it to her. She's servile buffoon. So I love the language here, right? You immediately know she's in charge. You're fortunate I didn't turn my nerve waves on the lot of you. And then they're like, well, they call her mistress. Classic
Mr. Little
dude.
is done for. Shall we finish the Black Panther off as well? No, you fool. The princess has need of him for her plans. Giggity.
Oh, giggity. Yeah, look at this outfit. Again, classic Kirby. Look at the colors, the drapery stuff,
although
the design. Although the helmet face thing is a little
quite athletic, quite athletic, but great shape to her, all the way down until you get to her feet.
Yeah, kind of drop off there on the heels, kind of like Miss Alien Queen feet, right?
It's just strange, that like non-human feet.
Yeah. It's definitely an angle thing here going on because the other guy's feet are proportional, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a mistake, but it's definitely an eye catcher. She could play some rugby, I think, man, with those thighs. I'm actually jealous.
Yeah,
I wish I had thighs like that, dude. I'd be playing rugby still.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. She's quite athletic.
Legs.
Quite athletic.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, it's mine. The evil bad guy, little Indiana Jones type stuff going on here, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's mine now. Now it's changed hands like 3 times. And it's weird how the henchmen keep talking to her like that. I would have expected she's probably going to backhand one of these dudes here in a minute, right?
Yes.
In reality, she probably would have shot this guy here to this panel to the left. Because she's talking about it's mine now, and this guy's like, but it can't be controlled, Your Highness. It's dangerous. You know what I'm talking about? If this was a movie, this guy would have definitely bought it.
Oh yes,
because then she would have said, "Anybody else got anything to say? You? No? You? No? All right. Am I in charge now?" Kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Kind of like the Bruce Campbell Army of Darkness. You want some? Now, how this guy knew the control code for the frog, I was a little lost here, JT. Can you help me out on this a little bit? Maybe what am I missing? Something here.
What were you lost about? Sorry.
How henchmen know that the King Solomon had? There's a control code for the frog.
She loves to hear herself talk, so she probably wouldn't shut up all the way there in their jet craft talking about it. So that's how I think they know.
Okay. Yeah, because that seems like some vital information that maybe these guys probably wouldn't have been privy to, but I think you're right.
I'm going with she just can't shut the hell up.
Yeah, yeah. And again, that one dude's lucky to even be standing there anymore. We can make him talk type of stuff, right? Because they want to get info to where the mines are, but little do they realize he doesn't even think the mines exist. Right.
Yeah, they're going down the wrong path.
Yeah,
and she's like, I can just tase you again until you tell me. You can't escape my power. Like,
so yeah, see she's definitely got an ego, right? Her and Little, they've got egos, man, for days, but her ego is way out there. It's perfect for a bad girl, right? And I love how they talk with this. It's really hard for me to get it out there. You just have to read it, and I think everybody understands where I'm coming. You do, JT. It's like, why fight me? You witnessed the power at my command, though you eluded my capture in the air. I got your ass now, right?
Yep.
That type of exposition I like it.
I'm expecting an evil cackle at any second.
Oh God, we had enough cackling for 4 years, dude. No more cackling.
I'm going to leave that one where it is.
Oh, if I knew you were going to say that, I have a little funny thing to put out. But Undo what's been undone. Anyway. Well, she calls him out here.
She's like super taser happy.
Yeah. And she's trying to use like reverse psychology on Panther here. She's like, well, hey man, you joined Mr. Little, why not join me?
He was looking for the same control code that we are, and he just wanted to use to control it for his own whims. So am I really any worse than him? Because then the next thing is she's going to pivot, I bet you, to ask him, to appeal to him to help.
Yeah, she's trying to BS him into, we're just going to regulate the forces. Well, that's the whole point of me not letting you have it, because you're a cold-blooded killer. He just straight up tell her, you're just a cold-blooded killer. That's the difference. And then, like you said, she's like, well, you're kind of a fool, because that's what he was going to do to you. Is once you get the code, was just kill you. He's come to his senses now, though. Kicks it out of her hand. There's a kind of like, oh my gosh, thing going on. It's flying up in the air, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. And now they're like, just kill him, get it, grab it, type of thing. Some action. I love the action scenes, though, here.
Threatens to smash it.
Yeah, he threatens to smash it.
Why he didn't already do it, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know so much as that Little would have let him, but he could have done it at any time, or at least tried. I don't think it would work, JT. Mm-hmm. But he didn't even try, right?
Right.
Maybe he thought that if he threw it on, it might blow up or something. After the story Little told him, I guess. Who knows? Right. But he didn't try to destroy it. Like in The Hobbit, right?
Yes.
Or Gimli. But anyway. So now all of a sudden she's like, oh, just aim, dude. Take him out with one, Okay.
Right.
The guy's like, I'll try.
And luckily for her henchman has better aim than the stormtroopers.
Yeah, so he actually did it. He took a shot and knocked it out of his hand. But
it flies into midair.
Yeah, I guess he shot the frog, not Black Panther. It would have blown his hand off, right? You're not going to see that anyway. It's not going to happen. So I'm assuming he hit the frog, and then JT, this thing kicks into gear.
I can hear it go ding, 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 like just on the ground, landing upright, nonetheless.
Started technoing, rope, like a frog, right? Yes. Did you get that?
Yes.
Look at the letters. I just caught that, JT. I swear to you, everybody. I just actually read those. Isn't that a frog? Like it's like a warp coil building up or something?
Yeah.
And
then here on the next one, a glaring radiance fills the field of action. The doorway to time has opened once again. A tall, vague man-like shape appears. A phantom menace from where?
Oh, nice. Nice one, dude. I see what you did there. Somebody clip that.
Yeah, when the blinding light fades, the time threshold is closed, but this bizarre being has stepped across the centuries and now stands solid and alone, facing creatures as strange as himself. Yeah. What are you? Speak or delete? By the great lion, the brass frog hit the jackpot this time. And the guy, this creature... I don't know. Looks like he's serving drinks at a casino. He has Hatch 22 written on his forehead.
Yeah. Well, they'll explain that later. At first, like it's an alien type trope, but it's a pretty good one. At least the head. I mean, he doesn't look like a nice kind of guy, right? And you'll see why he has the big head. Obviously, we'll know what's going on with that. But it's Black Panther's humor here that gets me, dude. And like you said, the casino dealer suit, it's a little funny. But I like the head. The eyes. It has a little bit of a menacing look, if that's what you're going to go with, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
We'll
It's
see. Yeah.
intriguing. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
The clothes are a little weird. Though. It's not a suit and tie, but it looks like one. But anyway,
I would really like him to say, you know, choose the form of your destructor or whatever from
yeah,
Ghostbusters.
yeah. In again, it's like Black Panther. It's like now Starbuck would have said, "What the frack?" Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But he says, "By the Great Lion." Now, that's an important line to go back to T'Challa's past history, right? Of Wakanda and stuff like that. But his humor's great here. It's like the brass rock hit the jackpot this time, my man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm getting at, JT?
Yes. Yes.
When I read that, I just laughed, dude. I was like, oh, dude, I don't remember. It's been like I said, like a year or so, but I don't. I get the flashbacks now that I remember that some of this was funny, but now that we're really digging into it,
sure.
So this guy's called the 6 Million Year Man, and that's the end of it. So what do you think of issue 1 there, JT?
So yeah, I quite like it. For having this being the first time ever going through it, there was a lot to like. While I don't think it was a perfect comic, number ones rarely ever are, right? It I think it hit stride pretty quickly. I think, as we talked about earlier in the beginning, it's very rich with the ability to show, but also inform and give some hint as to how the Black Panther moves around. Talks about how he moves around with agility like a cat and some quickness and fast dexterity and reflex, right? So you get this whole moving, attacking like a cat that if you were to just watch this on TV or in a theater, you would totally lose a lot of that, right? Unless they really tried to ham it up, in which case you wouldn't really be interested in that type of a fight. So I thought that was cool that they played into that. I don't mind the cliffhanger. I think they went to a good point for one comic and stopped there, and they did well. The pacing was amazing. There was not a wasted frame on any page.
There you go. I had a feeling you were going to come back to that, based on what I know how you look at comics these days, right?
Yeah.
But sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. I was just smiling. I was like, oh, yes, I knew you were going to do that.
So it then, the dialogue I feel like was just right. I feel like the level of information to the reader was just right. There was no long dump of exposition. There was no overly vague, one cell to the next. I also liked the dialogue between the characters. I thought Little was grew or was described to the reader as a character pretty quickly. You start to develop a sense of his personality. And same with Black Panther. There's still a decent amount of mystery behind both of them, right? You're never going to get an entire character out there in one issue. But they did it in such a way that wasn't like a dialogue dump or some attempt to be too funny for your own good. I mean, we can read this and see the attempt at humor and laugh at it, even though this is coming up on 50 years old.
77, right? January 77. It's actually copyrighted in 76, but this came out in 77.
Okay. The last thing I want to say about the art, not every frame is the strongest in the world, but no book has that. There's always some stuff that's not as strong as others throughout.
Compared to a complete comic, an issue, there is way amount of less bad as compared to what we've seen per issue.
Oh yes, it
Okay.
is solid. The bar starts so high compared to what we've seen.
And God rest his soul again for Claudia. And I wish Hungry was here and Mark and them guys. I did give a little late notice to them, so maybe my bad there. Kirby was known to be an absolute machine in pushing out product, right? And with my own video, yes, I'm going to segue. I have a video out there with Hungry Boy and you. I believe it was you, right?
Yes.
I always forget because it's been a while already. But I remember that it was you, and I think maybe Mark or whoever else came on talking about sometimes people would stay up 3 days to get something done because it was either messed up at the beginning or it was done and then destroyed or hurt. Something was damaged, and or there was some last minute changes for whatever freaking reasons. Or they got a client that wants something done in 2 days and you've only got 2 days to get it done.
I mean, I've
Kirby
heard
was
of
known
absolutely
to be
bonkers
pushing out
stuff.
Yeah.
I've heard of bonkers stuff, like 55 pages in like 3 weeks or something like that. I mean, I've heard all kinds of stories.
Yeah, I've heard stories about that kind of stuff too, man.
Yeah, I mean, just things where I'm like, wow, you know, what are you getting quantity or in speed and quality? Because normally you can't get all three.
Yeah,
it's like a triangle thing. You gotta go to one of the corners.
Let me show you something on that note here is that the difference is it actually gets done.
Yes.
And put
the
out.
faces are all drawn in. The faces are all drawn in. You know, that was one of the things with BSG. Quite often the faces weren't there, or the color was done wrong on things, or we saw in our last, the 1980 comic, you have the wrong people talking in the bubbles. The bubbles are reversed. You know, things like that, where the editing wasn't done.
The stuff with the radiation and just we don't see.
I don't get any sense of any of those major mistakes here, which is cool.
Only the helicopter was a little far fetched. But he did call it a jet helicopter, but I think he loved comics so much, Jack Kirby did, JT, that even for him, he got too crazy with it, like supersonic copter. You know what I mean? It wasn't so bad that you got mad. You're like, oh my God, it's a supersonic. You laugh at it because it's fun.
I laughed at it.
Even the mess up parts are fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than the heels on Xanda, other than that, in the one hand but even the face for the little guy, when you understand that that's his physical characteristics, side angle, you can't be perfect. You couldn't have said that better, JT. You can't be 100% perfect on every single frame. The difference with this comic book, I probably will just say I'll have what JT's having, because really what I'm going to say is everything you just said. There's not really much more I can add to that. You just knocked it out of the block with.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad I actually managed that once. You know, I'll take the compliment, sir. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I let on a lot, that the pacing, the writing. You've seen me. I'm laughing at a lot of stuff that I laughed at 2 hours ago when I read it. And
well, look,
you know what I mean?
I think you would agree with this. There's just so much more that can be forgiven when you get the fundamentals done so well, and there's just so much else done so well that little looks kind of bad in one or two of those. The feet looked kind of weird.
Yeah, one time in one frame, the feet looked bad. Okay, you forget about that in the next 2 seconds. Right. It's not something we might harp on. We might bring it back if we talk about it totality, the 20 issues, because like we said, Kirby got it done.
Yes.
Wink, right?
Yes.
And
and
what I was referring to earlier was the fact that I don't know at this particular time period how many comic books and stuff he was working on, but I know from listening to all the people that I've respected over the last years talk about him. At one point in time, he was doing an amazing amount of work for people, like people commissioned work, right? Or working for Marvel. In fact, Stan Lee put on the cover, he's back. You know what I mean? That he worked for them, left and came back. And I guess I could have done some more research into that, but I didn't want this to be all about
Clobber
just
Times
Jack Kirby.
Talked about that a ton. I wish I could point to an episode and just link it in the chat.
Sure.
He knew so much about all of the history of Kirby and all that stuff. So, folks, if you're really into Jack Kirby, especially Clobby's old Monday shows, Monday Night Comics, Monday Night Mark C Comics, I believe it was.
Yes, Monday Mark C Comics, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Go back and pick one of those out one of these days. Just go ahead and watch it. You'll learn more. I think Clobby must have forgotten more about comics than either of us.
Than I'll ever know.
Both of us know combined, right?
Yeah.
And throw
Forever.
Mark in there too.
Forever.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
and the point being again is that if you want to talk about pressure, you know what I'm getting at. You stop my cam so I don't lead on too much about what we're talking about. There's a lot of inside talk here, folks. But he was a machine. At one point, he was just doing a lot of work for different people and getting it done, right?
In quality too.
Well, that's the point of me. You had asked me if anybody missed this. JT asked me at the beginning of the show why I picked this. Now you know why.
Oh yeah.
It's quality. Now you might not like Jack Kirby. I mean, dude, that's up to you, right? You didn't really like the cover, not so much for the artistic style, but you thought it was just a little too busy, right?
Yes.
Too much character reveal. And if that's what you look at, that's what you see, right? I was almost agree. It's like, yeah, you could have revealed the other two characters.
I'm doing a
later.
sneak peek at issue number 2. That problem's not there. I think issue number 2 has a far better cover. I don't want to get too far ahead of the game. Yeah, no, I think number 2 has a much more entertaining cover that draws you in.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah,
and the fact where I might have skipped one if this were new and I was at the shop, I would have probably skipped one, seen number 2, and said, "Well, that looks kind of cool. Maybe I should go back and get number 1 to see what happens here."
Oh yeah, definitely.
But anyway, so
I've got a copy of the. And by the way, folks, just to let everybody know, I guess I should tell you because I'm not going to string you out. We're not going to do issue number 2. JT and I have some other backstage discussions about some comics that we need to take care of tonight. And JT's
we're nerds. What can we say?
Well, he has a job. He has kids. He goes on my stream. He goes on Emerald T stream. He goes on Mark's stream. Friday night Fortnite. JT's a pretty busy guy. So I do apologize. We're talking. I had a feeling this would happen because I did want to talk about whether you hated it or liked it and why you liked it and stuff like that. And you, like I said, you crushed it. And now you know why I picked this. Because it's
for sure excellent. It is.
And the
first issue is anyway. We'll see. We'll see. It might have an issue 14 in there somewhere.
We'll find out. We'll find out whether or not Kirby is the main person for this, because what I forgot to point out was, and I am going to pull it out here of the comic before I beat you to that. They did give credit to the fact that it is written, edited, and drawn all by Jack Kirby. Did you know that, JT?
I did not.
Yeah, that's my bad for not bringing that out. Yeah, so I'm sure if anybody else would have been here, that would have been immediately brought out. It was inked by one other person, and there was a consulting editor, but he edited. See the difference here? He wrote it, he drew it, but he was also the editor. Remember how many times we talked about what's wrong with these guys in the room sitting here and not editing the stuff the right way? This is crazy how they pick these things out. Well, that's because he's doing his own editing, and he has a contributing editor, and obviously he has to answer to Marvel and Stan Lee, but this is Jack Kirby. He's got some leeway here.
Yes.
Right? I would say a lot of leeway because they brought him back. And did we get into... Oh, we didn't. and I'm just going to hold you here for just a minute, okay?
Sure.
So I guess I know the answer to this as well is, are you looking forward, other than just having fun on the show, with self-propelling my little ego there, I guess. But I mean, other than having fun coming on and talking about, because you did suffer through some bad ones, right? Are you truly looking forward to number 2? Or did you read number 2 tonight?
No, I have not read number 2. I saw the cover. That's it.
So I have to put my old man glasses on, so I'm not going to bring out the... So we know that there's a Stanley soapbox, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to go into it because there's not much in there. It's tremendously huge in number 1 and number 2. And he's just talking about Marvel Comics in general. But they have this right here. And I was hoping it would be... Let me slide over this right here.
Yes.
Have you can't see that in the Read All Comics.
No, not in the edition that I have.
Ah, damn. I should have thought of maybe scanning this and sending it to you. Remind me before next week to do that for you.
Okay.
If I find something important, right?
Okay. Sure.
Okay. I mean, if it's the second one, like issue 2 wasn't all that great. But let me tell you the difference of why these comics are so good and Kirby's love, because there's a lot of controversy going on. I'm not going to get into it too much with this Captain America thing, right? And I'm trying not to jack up my
from the last 24 hours?
Yeah, in the last 48 hours, right? No. I know I was pretty pissed, but and I know a lot of other people are as well, because I watched the clip a couple times just to make sure.
Well, my wallet's closed. I'll just say that. Yeah.
So this is from Jack Kirby, and I'm just going to read some of this if you don't mind, JT.
Go for it.
New titles call for new text pages. So he's talking about his wife. He's saying hi to her. He's sitting at a rickety typewriter, by the way. Okay, this isn't computer stuff. Typewriter. And I'm trying in my own imitable, I can barely even read this. It's not imitable manner to convey a few words about the new yet familiar figure of Black Panther. For it is the Panther who must leap and cavort about these pages to earn his new book, its entrance fee into the Marvel superhero, Grand Dame, if you know French. I'll skip that little part. Okay,
well, so it's interesting that he said earn his way in.
Yeah.
So it's not like this is a corporate product, comic book hero 136.2. You will buy it, you will like it because we're telling you to, and it fits into our corporate formula.
Yeah, and
now consume. They didn't do that.
Yeah, he's very humble about this character. And in fact, I think in number 2, if I can remember, the only thing they do in the postscripts there was a quiz, a no-win prize question for the fan base, to ask if Kirby came back, what god or what king type character would it be? And most of the people guessed Black Panther, and they were excited about it, right? Mm-hmm. Let me skip a little bit because it's just talking about drawing and nothing too great here off the drawing board. Another issue is on the way. And here he goes. I can only say that you're due to see the Panther the way he was originally intended to be. Because you see, every character of distinction who is created from a singular format, that they created Black Panther, by the way, Stanley and Jack Kirby, right? Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly.
Well, I wonder who actually did the creation. I think we know.
The real one. Yeah. In my estimation, the character must retain that format in order to survive. Let me read that again for everybody who's still with us or watches this later. And I'm taking a shot at you, Anthony Mackie. Marvel, Disney, jackasses. Mm-hmm. So you want to see me get pissed too? I'll get pissed too. I can do a 20-minute video. I'm not. I'm just going to read this from Jack Kirby in 1976-77 wrote this. This is why he's loved so much. You see, every character of distinction who is created from a singular format must, in my estimation, retain that format in order to survive. Wow. What do you think about that, JT?
Well,
Hey,
it's
DJ
almost like you
Play
can't just come through and change your character to be whatever the hell you want because you don't care about anything that came before it. And
DJ Play Nice, so much. Sorry, JT. Sorry,
sure.
I hate doing that, but he's leaving too, so he's in and out real quick. Thanks for stopping by, dude. Yeah, we're only doing the issue 1, so we'll do 2 and 3 next week because we're going into talking about Jack Kirby and a lot of the things he wrote real quick. And dang it, that wasn't on the Read All Comics. You can't get that on there, so I had to just kind of read off on this on my own. Come back and watch this part. You might find it pretty interesting. But thank you anyway for coming in as always. And so sorry, JT, if you could remember what you were saying there.
Oh, sure. I mean, you need to maintain the essence of the character. And if you choose not to read the previous issues from other people and realize that you're standing on their shoulders, then, I think he's right. The character will not survive at all. And look at all the stuff that modern film has done to these characters. It's like they never read anything about certain characters. A lot of them, Captain America comes to mind. How much are you going to change them?
Yeah,
So
I know one
Miss Marvel, all that whole.
Trash.
I won't go into that, but
trash.
You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
So,
I just think this is such a coincidence. No, I didn't plan this ahead of time because I didn't read this until tonight in my hands. Right, and I don't even like touching this right now. I've got the book underneath it. I barely got my thumb on the bottom. Knowing my luck, I'll be buying a number 1 soon. But yeah, I might even make a video on this. But we'll see because it's been downplayed a lot, but not with this angle. This is back in 1976, 77. He continues on, so it doesn't seem like I'm harping, but I ain't going to anyway. Like a living, breathing human being, a comic superhero must forever be himself, and it's himself because he's talking about Black Panther, in order to fulfill his function, which is primarily to entertain the reader.
Wait.
To sell comic books.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
I thought it was to educate and correct the audience.
Uh-huh.
I thought we were supposed to be telling people what
Force
to believe.
An agenda sound familiar?
Yeah. Wait, that's not the point.
No, it's not the
comic?
point. And I'll read it again. Like a living.
I'm glad I'm sitting down. I'm glad I'm sitting down.
How awesome is this right now, considering what's been going on, especially just lately? I mean, with the superhero, who, by the way, was an Avenger, Marvel, Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther was an Avenger. And if I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll get crushed later, but I know I'm not.
Well, if you were right or wrong on that last part, it doesn't matter. Everything that you just read is the whole reason why Marvel, DC, all these folks cannot make a good comic movie anymore. Yeah, I don't think.
I'm not even done. That's not even the end of the sentence yet. This is so good, JT. God, I wish the other guys had shown up for this and Clavi was here because, again, it says, like a living, breathing human being, a comic superhero must forever be himself in order to fulfill his function, which is primarily to entertain the reader, to sell comic books. How's the comic book industry been doing lately if it wasn't for all the indie people?
Let me check.
Right? What?
Not good. Not good, Dave.
How's Diamond doing these days?
Oh, geez. I forget which chapter of their book they're on.
11.
Oh, wait, it's chapter 11? Oh, man.
Yeah. And so to sell comic books here we go. And to keep all those connected with his existence from developing the Tasmanian crud. Wow. Holy shite. Holy frack, JT.
You got to put that out on
How,
X or something, man.
how powerful is that, man?
You got to get that out on X.
Damn
Type
right.
that
I
up.
might do a video. I might do a video on this, and somebody might beat me to it. So the Black Panther you will see emerging from these pages is one that will take you to all the exciting, fantastic places your imagination can conjure. And why not? That's entertainment, isn't it, folks? You bet it is. So from now on, you and I are going to swing off into a wide orbit. With the characters and premises introduced in this issue, we've got a ticket on the Universe Express. Now, JT, I know you didn't like the time travel kind of thing. You wanted to see it go somewhere else.
Yes.
And I don't imagine it'll go more than 1 or 2 issues before they go somewhere else, right?
On to that point, the time travel is not visited by us into other times. It is visited upon us. So Black Panther doesn't actually travel in time. The time travel comes to him. Yeah. It is almost more like the mystic misfortune that I was kind of hoping for. Like a curse type thing. It did actually turn up to be pretty close to that. So that's why I kind of put that criticism in the back of my mind and forgot about it, because it's not us going back 500 years, going forward 200 years, that type of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the way he writes this letter is powerful too. He goes into talking about Princess Xanda and her power to command a private army. He talks about Mr. Little being, you thought he was dead, didn't you? But you caught on, JT, right? Because you're smart. You caught on to what I was telling you about. Wink, wink. We haven't got to issue 2 yet. So we'll see if your prediction is true or not.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And he talks about, he pumps his comic up in a way. It's not a selling thing. You don't get the feeling that he's just trying to make you buy it. He wants you to enjoy it. Then hopefully you think you will. So then you buy it, right? And because he says, could you ask for more thrills? He's like, sure, I'm going to take you to the mountains in the King Solomon's chamber. So he doesn't really give you spoiler alerts, but he's letting you know that all this kind of stuff is coming up. And he calls it a Panther cult, which is really cool. He talks about vibranium. We'll find out that the miracle metal vibranium really is. Wow, that's a good one right there, right?
Yes.
Hey, Matthew Pounder.
I already love this more.
Dude, you
cool.
really
Dude,
need to come back.
This is a good book, and I hope it's a good listen for you, going back to the beginning and watching this later, or listening to it later even.
And
this is a good
especially the last, what would you say when I brought this out? So Matthew, let me show it just for you real quick what I'm doing here. We're not going to get into number 2 tonight, okay? Because I had a feeling when I ran into this part right here, there's a letter in here from Jack Kirby himself. And there's a particular part that addresses some of the issues that have been going on recently with Captain America. And this was written in 1976 or 1977. So if you don't have this, you might actually have this. I don't know. Go back. If you can't watch the whole thing, go back at least from the end right up to here and go back like 15, 20 minutes and check out what Jack Kirby said back in 77.
How prophetic.
It's amazing, dude.
I will say this. I will say this, and maybe it's maybe people will not agree with me at all. I like this Black Panther already in 1 issue so much better than anything in that movie.
Yeah, and Kirby even says it. Now, sure, he's promoting his own thing, but he took time to write this really just amazing letter, a whole page letter, and with some artwork too, right? He does Hatch 22, Xanda, and Black Panther in a crouching pose. That artwork right there is amazing. And he just straight up says, give me just a second. He goes, do the possibilities in all of this intrigue you? I'm staking my best box of cigars that it does. I'm taking this stand for one reason. I like the Black Panther. He's got the qualities of character that make him as real and thrilling as we want him to be.
I think it
Damn,
shows.
dude.
I think it shows. Right.
Yeah, he cares. He cares about this character, right? And now you can see.
I don't think how you could make an argument against that. I mean, this.
I'd like to see it. Show me an email where he says, "I fooled everybody. I was just trying to sell shit." I dare you to try to send me an email with. Oh, that's right. There was no.
I don't think you can fake that letter. I really don't think you could fake that letter.
You can't fake that. And then his letter, and the way he talks to the fans is, "I hope you enjoy it," right? And most people do that kind of stuff, but when I read that, I was like, oh man, yeah, this is so good. And I guess that's it. So we can get you out of here because we need to talk backstage.
Yep.
And so, famous last words. I think you already crushed it earlier, man.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I am happy that you picked this, and I am looking forward already to next week, trying to figure out what's going to happen on number 2.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know we got one extra somebody watching, so we're not doing number 2. We did number 1, obviously, and then we did a whole thing on Jack Kirby's letter for whoever just popped in on the watching now. Definitely watch this to the end. There's a letter in there from Kirby. It's just absolutely amazing. I read some of the best parts of it. And go back toward the end, maybe about 20 minutes from here. And I think we're pretty much going to sign off. JT, I'm glad you like it. It's a classic. I look forward to next week, at least number 2, unless we go off on a tangent with Kirby again, which we could easily do with some other things. But plan on number 2 and 3 next Wednesday at 9, and plug what you got going on this week for yourself.
Yeah, so I may have a random squirrel stream with the Dad Man. Who knows? It's always a last minute thing, but put my ear to the ground. It may happen, may not. Regardless, check out Dadman's channel if you get a chance.
Yeah, can you link him? I'm looking up.
Sure. And then Friday night, I'll be on Late Night Fortnite, Mark D with the C. Then Saturday, I know I'll be on with Dadman for some sports ball talk. And then saving Star Trek Saturday night with Admiral Teague.
Yeah, I got Dadman's there if you want to do Mark or Teague. There's Dadman. Yeah. Oh, you beat me to it.
I beat you to it.
You beat me to it. I should have done one of the other.
And then
Mark and Teague.
The next one is Admiral Teague on Saturday. And I think people know how to get to Mark D with the C as well, but I'll put Mark in there too. Thank you, Mark. And
Friday night Fortnite, and with him Sunday night Geekery, 10 o'clock Eastern. That's a good show. That's a fun show. I can't always make it for some reason. I went last week. It was fun, or the week before.
It's good to have a rotating panel. Get a lot of different voices on there too.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, obviously this is an A++. Very, very little things you could say.
Agreed.
A couple of nitpicky type things that you immediately forget about because it's so good.
Exactly.
And I guess that will be the end of it. Thank you, Matthew Pounder, DJ Play Nice, FKAC 2005, Buddy Hepburn, Lady V, yay, Lady V, and everybody else who might have just been watching. And if I forgot you, please forgive me. It's not intentional. So on that note, we are going to say goodbye. See you on Friday night Fortnite. If you play, come on in, send an invite. Come on with Mark. And other than that, see you Saturday if you're a Star Trek person, right?
Yep.
All right, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.